You are now listening to the Men of Iron podcast. Men of Iron equips men and grows godly leaders through one-to-one mentorships. Go to menofiron.org for more information. Thanks for listening. Today's episode is brought to you by Yeshua Jewelry. To find your jewelry needs for every special occasion, go to yeshuasjewelry.com. Welcome to the Men of Iron podcast, episode 5. My name is Steve Glick. I'm here with Garret Barbush in the house.
What's up, Stevie Glick? How you doing, buddy?
What do you think, man? First podcast in the Men of Iron office.
Yeah, it's a different feel, but I like it. I think it's a good thing.
It's very cool. It's as you can see behind us, we got the Men of Iron logo. So it's pretty exciting. We thank Walk in Love, who was gracious enough to allow us to use their studio for the last 4 episodes. So
yeah, thank you to TJ and Brooke and their generosity.
So let's do it. Episode 5. I would love to introduce our special guest today, Sam Koimene. Sam, what's going on, man?
I'm just chilling, man. Glad to be here with you guys. Yeah.
All right.
It's exciting, man. It's exciting. We're glad to have you. So we are going to dive right into this, get to know Sam. We always love this portion of the podcast. We call it Take 5.
Absolutely. This is one of my favorite parts. I'm going to watch Sam sweat a little bit.
Well, we said already. He's in the hot chair. He's in the red chair over there. So
red chair.
All right, Sam. So Take 5. Question number 1. You ready for this?
I'm ready. Does my speed matter how I answer this?
Actually, last time Garret gave our special guest like a 5-second clock or something?
Yeah, I gave you like 5 seconds to answer.
Okay.
So,
but there is no clock, so take your time. All right, Take 5. Question 1, Sam. What is the last song you listened to?
Oh man, I just listened to a song by a guy named Banky Washington. It was a love song. My girlfriend just sent it to me. I was literally listening to it in the car.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
wow,
So
never
Sam,
something you want to admit in public, let alone on a national podcast.
I
But
know. I kind of had to be transparent with this one. You probably seen it in my face.
well, we are all about honesty and transparency here at Men of Iron, so that's just
absolutely.
There you go. Sam's just bringing it
Sam,
right off the
bringing
bat.
the heat from the start.
Man.
Listen to the song. Okay.
Listen to the song and learn a little bit, right?
Yeah.
He's going to get some brownie points with that, too,
Oh, yeah.
so, I like it. So Take 5. Question number 2, Sam, is who inspires you?
Who inspires me? Jesus Christ.
There we go.
There's been seasons in my life where I was inspired by different men, like T.D. Jakes, a guy named Cypher Powell. But in this season of my life, I'm just amazed of Christ and the things he's accomplished and how we still talk about him today.
Yep. Still relevant today. I love it, man. It's awesome. All right, this is a good one. Question number 3, Take 5. Who would play you in a movie of your life?
Oh, man. I'd rather play myself.
I like it.
I'd be so cocky and say no one else can play me, but I feel like, oh, man, I don't know. Maybe myself.
That's a good answer. I like it.
Brother.
There we
brother.
go. There we go.
I was going to say Denzel.
Denzel.
Yeah.
What's your brother's name?
Angelo.
All right, shout out Angelo. He's going to play Sam in the...
And I'm only saying him because he knows everything about me. People think he's with the twins.
So he'd play the character to perfection.
Yeah.
I love it.
Kill it.
That's awesome.
All right, question number 4. Favorite ice cream flavor?
Favorite ice cream flavor? Chocolate, I guess. It's this whole weird thing about your favorite ice cream flavor does something about your character.
Oh, yeah?
Never heard that.
Thinking about it.
What's it say about chocolate?
Oh man.
Now I have to ask G. Now I have to ask Garret, what's your favorite ice cream flavor? See if we can...
I'm a cookie dough guy.
All right.
Yeah, cookie dough for sure. Yeah, I don't mess around when it
I
comes
like
to ice cream.
black raspberry. It's my favorite.
That's sort of an Amish thing right there. That's definitely an Amish flavor. Like
Black raspberry?
Yeah, I would
Oh,
never
man.
get black. Can I get some black raspberry?
See, it's in his character already.
There it is. All right, so last question for Take 5. What accomplishment are you most proud of in your life?
Oh, I am most proud of leading one of my friends to Christ. I think that's one of the biggest accomplishments as Christians we can accomplish here there may be different things we accomplish that may be glorifying in man's eye, but I think that's one of my accomplishments of leading my friend to Christ.
That's awesome.
Amen.
That's something to be proud of there, man.
That's good stuff.
Man, well, he survived the hot seat. What do you think? He did
Pretty good job. Yeah, I can't.
Temperature's still getting hotter.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for doing that for us, Sam. So now we'd love to just dig a little deeper into Sam's testimony. We'd love to hear your story, man. Just kind of where God brought you and what he's doing in your life now.
So yeah, Sam, start us out. Where are you from originally?
Okay, well, originally I'm from West Africa, Liberia.
Okay.
Born and partially raised. I always tell people.
LIB represent.
LIB
LIB.
represent. He gets it.
And for those of you that are watching and listening, Stevie has a big heart here for the country
I do.
of Liberia. You've been there how many times?
Been there 4 times.
4 times.
Yeah.
Chapter National is an
Yep.
organization that's here
Yeah.
locally and
Yep.
doing a lot of work, good things over there. So that's where you're from originally. And
That's how I met Steve. I walked into class the one day and he had a Liberia hat on, or shirt.
Shirt. I had a Love Liberia shirt on,
And I was
yeah.
like, that's a white guy wearing a Liberia shirt.
Oh, yeah, that was a cool.
Lancaster County?
It was a cool connection because we probably had already had a handful of classes together and we never
Yeah.
connected. And then I wore this Love Liberia shirt to class one day. And he's like, Liberia? I'm like,
That's
yeah.
where I'm from.
So that's where I'm from. Like, man, that's crazy.
so grew up, so you're born there, and you said partially raised. At what point did you move over?
So I left Liberia due to a civil war in 1996, and I migrated to Ivory Coast for a temporary time. They say uncles and aunts, but in Africa, everyone that can provide for you, it's like your aunt or uncle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I was with my uncle in Ivory Coast, and after Ivory Coast, we ran from there and went to Ghana, and then the journey began to come over here and join our parents. I'm just going to dive right into it and continue.
Yeah.
My parents and I were separated for about 11 to 12 years.
Wow.
Wow.
My parents came to the States like 93, 94, I think. But don't count on the dates. I'm just guessing. So yeah, we're separated for that long period of time in the process of just surviving different civil wars, 3 of them to be direct. So there was a stage in my life where I was like, I feel like my parents didn't care, they didn't love me because they chose to leave us in Africa. But the more I grew in my faith, I was able to appreciate their sacrifice of wanting to come out here to make it better for me to be here today talking to you guys.
It's awesome.
It's something you really have to be spiritually in tune and listen more to Christ. And just His grace to be able to forgive that. We didn't talk the first 2 years when I first came.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's exciting. That's an awesome story, man.
So at what point so you're separated from your parents for 12 years total. You 10, 12 years, somewhere in that ballpark. You move over here. You finally do get over here. And how old were you when you finally got over here?
I came here, I was like 13.
13 years old.
Yeah.
Wow. Talk about probably a very unique time to make that move from one culture to another as you're 13 years old.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Those teenage years.
Well,
Trying to understand who you are and everything else.
I always tell people, African age is different. It's like
Absolutely.
when you're maybe when you're 5, you're probably going on 14, 15. Or if you're 13, you're a grown man.
Right.
It's like a wrap.
Right.
Just because life presents you so many, I guess I can say, stages where you have to make adult decisions.
Yeah.
Sometimes life or death.
Right.
Sometimes for the people around you. So it's a lot of situations that you find yourself in a young age where you have to be an adult or a leader for those around you.
Do you mind if I'd like to expand on this a little bit, because I think it's a great conversation for this podcast. But I mean, you said it. Hey, the age of those cultures is very different. 13 years old, you're making decisions. I mean, did you at 13? Did you see yourself as a man? I mean, is that how you felt like you were a man deep down inside, that you were making decisions on your own? And
at some stage, it's almost like you don't have a choice.
right.
It's like I have to be a man. I had to.
Right.
It's I don't know. It's kind of like indescribable.
Right.
Where sometimes people will, let's say for example, you're in a situation. It's hard to just explain it pretty much. Um, so let's say you're in a car and you got like 5 to 6 seconds to make a decision to go right or go left. It's like in that moment you have to make a decision. So with being in the third world country and facing situations where it's like everyone's just talking and all of a sudden it's a civil war.
Mm.
You got to get up and the next person around you, go with them and leave. Someone, if your parents go a different route, then that next person becomes your guidance or you become your guidance yourself. For others, it's worse. So it's good.
Yeah. How was that transition? You come over here. Here you are, a 13-year-old who's making life and death decisions, and all of a sudden you're ingrained in this culture where these 13-year-olds are given everything. Not really. I mean, their biggest decision is, are they going to eat a fudge round at lunch or not? Because this is a very interesting concept to me as a man now. Is that I believe this, and I don't believe I know. And there's research that proves this. Is that our culture in America has completely lost this idea of the ceremony, if you will, or that step from boyhood to manhood. There's no real ceremony for that to happen in our culture.
Right.
So many boys are 17, 18, going off to college, and a father has never taken the time to say, this is what a man is, this is what a man does, I'm going to train you in these ways, and oh, by the way, son, this is a ceremonious moment for us, is I'm releasing you, because in so many cultures around the world, whether it's stuff that we agree with or not, many cultures know when they are a man.
Yeah.
There's that step into manhood where they've done something.
Yep.
Whether it's kill an animal or walk
Symbolic
across fire.
transition kind of
Yeah,
thing.
there's that symbolic transition. So how was that for you coming over here in the mix of teenagers here in America that didn't have that? I mean, was that
Well, with me, like when I first came, I always, my experience kind of confirmed that I was different. And so when I first came, I was in like the 6th grade, I believe. And everyone had a different mindset. My mindset was to do better back then, not being 100% grown in my spiritual life with Christ and knowing exactly what He wanted me to do. I wanted to be a soccer player and make money and go back home. Right? So that was like my mindset. So it's like, okay, in order to do this, I got to make sure I'm not getting in trouble, I'm getting good grades. So my focus is different. And then I was in Boston, so there was like kids that was into gangs. And every day they want to fight me after school. And I'm like, guys, you just stop. you don't understand nothing about violence.
right?
So these are some of the cool stories that I encounter. But I've always had a different mindset of just wanting to be better because where I was from didn't give me that opportunity. And I always tell others like, what's the word? I forget what to say. I always tell people our life is a testimony that we must learn to teach others. So leaving Liberia and coming over here and seeing so much opportunities and things that I can, I guess, adapt to make me a better person to head back was always my focus. And I really started to grow in that the more I bettered my relationship with God because it became more transparent on exactly what He wanted me to do. So
Very cool. Very cool. So yeah, go ahead, Steve. You asked a question.
Yeah, you kind of gave us obviously a story and testimony of where you were and where God brought you. We'd love to hear like what God's doing in your life today.
Well, right now I have been to Liberia like 2 months. Now I'm going back to Liberia the second time around. My first trip was more so just to observe, because some Africans, when we come over here, we have this whole vision of how things should work back home, and that's based on our experience and based on the things we're now adapted to and the things that we're comfortable with. So I was here and I'm like, yeah, maybe Liberia needs this, or maybe they need good roads, or maybe they need good teaching, good food. And I'm like, well, I'm speaking from outside of how things is. So going back, I realized that everybody in Liberia is hard worker. They work really. When you say hustle, it's like literally they have to hustle to eat. And so I was like, maybe my experience there taught me they just needed um, structure and like plans, because people wake up in the morning and they'll work, walk miles, make no profit.
Mm.
And it's like, it's not that you're not working hard. It's just like you don't have a structured plan on how to make things work. So right now I'm working on a broad home for missionaries that will want to go back to Liberia, for the Africans that have been outside from their country and they've adapted here, and they want to have that comfortable lifestyle, but they still want to help.
Right.
So that's what a home is I'm working on right now.
That's awesome.
Trying to bring people to come back.
Love it.
Yeah.
We'll have to take this guy over
Yeah.
to West Africa.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah.
You can't teach experience.
Yeah.
You really can't.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. I'm actually heading down to, this is another topic, but I'm actually heading to South Africa, the very, very northern part of the country. I think, in fact, it butts right up against the property I'm going to be on is like Botswana and then South Africa's like right there. But I'm being told it's in a part where there's a lot of different cultures that are like all kind of into one area.
It's gonna be a cool experience, man.
Yeah. So I am looking
I know a
forward
lot.
to kind of going over there, but looking forward to it. But so tell us a little bit. I mean, you're a business owner now. So tell us about the business that you own, and you're an entrepreneur at heart. I'm excited to hear a little bit more about the business that you've got.
Okay. Well, I do so much.
The main one, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I started a jewelry business named Yeshua Jewelry. It all started from a key cross. I used to work at Giant. I seen a lady with a nice skull necklace on her neck, and I was like, "Man, that's a beautiful necklace. If only if it was a cross, then it would mean more to me than just a regular necklace." So I was like, "Well, I'm gonna look online. Went online, look everywhere, no key cross, and I'm like, hey, no one have this. I'm gonna try to create it." And I had no background, nothing, not even art. It's terrible. So I went to the jeweler close to me, and I was like, hey, I'm looking to design this, and this is how I actually stuck with the business. He told me, he said, this business is really hard to get into it. I almost felt like he was looking at me like it's hard for a black person to stick into it at this age.
Yeah.
So having an athletic background, I was like, "Don't you tell me I ain't gonna do this." So I told him, I said, I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna get this thing done. So after that, got online, researching manufacturers, got 2 in China. Our communication was terrible, but it took like 6 months. Within that 6-month time period, I was going to register my business, get a business card, get a website, and then it's kind of how I started. I just used to sell crosses at that time period. The symbol of the cross itself, a key on it, means that one must believe in Christ to get in heaven. So it's like when you see the key cross on my neck, you're like, oh, what does that mean? I want you to ask me that question, because then it presents a platform for me to share the gospel to you.
Amen.
So now I do watches, I do engagement rings, I do everything in the industry except grills.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm not that cool yet.
So this is something that you're pursuing. You said you've never been busier with it. That's great. I want to back up just a little bit, because obviously we know that you're a believer, and that's near and dear to your heart. How was Christ introduced to you, and how did you respond to that initially?
I became a follower, because I always say, like, it's good to be a believer, but it's like there's a stage in your life where you have to be a follower, where you take this really serious. I became a follower when I went to a seminar at Lancaster Theological Seminary. It's like a camp, and I was there, and there was oh boy, I don't know. Maybe you guys can edit this out, but there was a homosexual teacher.
Okay.
And from my background, it's like shun Africans, don't, like, non-negotiable topic. So on this journey of really wanting to know God more, I'm judging this guy. He's teaching me, and I'm like not listening to him at all. And I'm just like, why am I here, God? Like, what are you trying to teach me? So, he speaks, and I go back to my dorm, and I'm just like confused because I'm like, this is not, this don't work in our culture. This guy's not qualified to teach. And as I'm just laying down praying, like just trying to figure it out, I felt like I heard the Lord just ask me like, why are you limiting my love? And that like pondered, it's like shot me heavy. And I was like, man, I am limiting your love because I'm judging this guy. He's sharing your word. And so once that hit me, and I was like, man, your love is bigger than that. I really want to share your love because if you can love this, normally when you put people in different category, it's like you're limiting God love because you're saying that this person is loved by God, but this person is not loved by God, and this person is this, and this person is that. So I was like, your love is limitless in a way, and I really want to pursue you more and share it with other people. Not that I'm saying that homosexuality is right, but I'm saying the picture is bigger than that. And so I became my pursuit of this falling in love with God more and wanting to share His love.
That's awesome.
Good stuff. So, yeah, Steve, you want to get into maybe some mentors and talk about some men that have impacted him? That'd be awesome.
Yeah, kind of, what we want the meat of this podcast to be is just kind of why men need mentors, and we just love to hear from you, Sam, as you share your story as guys that have impacted you along your journey.
Interesting, because back home, from my background, I really didn't have much mentors. I think most youth back there don't have it, so they just wander.
Would you say that the idea of mentoring, sorry to interrupt, but would you say the idea of mentoring, this concept of mentorship in Liberia at the time, growing up, is it kind of a foreign concept? I mean, is it?
From my personal experience, 'cause I can't speak for the entire country,
Right.
because my parents wasn't on ground and I wasn't raised with my parents, I didn't have that in my life.
Right.
And from what I've seen around, it wasn't a thing. But that doesn't mean that I'm speaking for communities outside of my spectrum. But being in the state and being exposed to education, learning, having the internet to search anything. I used to run track and field. It's a guy named Samuel Koimene. He was a good Christian. His father passed away, so I was able to relate to him like his dad's not in his life. And I just kind of watched everything he did, learned how he ran, and I had to see I ran exactly how he ran. And then in my spiritual life, I did some studies on T.D. Jakes. I was really inspired by how he educated himself. Because back when I first came out, English was terrible. Wasn't relatable. Wasn't good at school. So I was like, man, I really have to teach myself. And so just watching T.D. Jakes' story and learning how he taught himself helped him out a lot. In my stage now, when you say mentorship, I'm basically just following Christ's principles in the scriptures. I'm just like focused on that.
It's a good mentor to have right there.
Yeah, I would say so.
I just feel like you can't beat it.
Uh-huh.
But there's guys that, you can talk to, have questions to ask. But I just love just focusing on Christ. I'm so amazed.
Yeah, now we were talking about this a little bit before we started, and Sam's currently working with youth at RAC. Is it called?
AARC.
ARC, that's in York. So he's working with boys from 12 to 18 that are in juvenile detention.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now he's been able to pour into, teenage boys' lives right now, like sharing his story and being able to share Christ. And I'd love to hear a little bit about those experiences.
Well, so right after high school, I did a John C. Maxwell 21 leadership, 21 Laws of Leadership program with my pastor. And I feel like that program really affected me a lot in a positive way. And at first I wanted to teach it, but then my business kind of was like, took my hours away from me, so I had to invest my time in it. And now I'm at the stage of my business where it's doing good. I'm able to, in a way, gave back something that I didn't have, more so from my dad, kind of a thing. My dad and I, by the way, have a great relationship right now. Just so he doesn't
awesome.
watch this and say, dude, you're bashing me.
Seriously.
Love you, Pops. Love you. 2 thumbs up.
It's good to get that out there, yeah.
But yeah, ARC is an awesome program. Pretty much what I do there, I just build a relationship with kids. Try to see where they're at on their journey, in life in general. Most of these kids, they tell me personal things that I'm grateful that I'm able to be there to respond to them from a physical perspective and then more so from a spiritual perspective. Because I feel like most of the time we do so much things in earthly manners and we have questions on why there's no results. And it's like, well, you're dealing with things in the physical realm. Things that happen in the spiritual realm.
Well, and I know Justin Watkins, our director of development. He and his wife Jenna were house parents at the Milton Hershey School for about 2.5 years, and so they raised how many? 12
girls.
12 middle school girls at one time. And one of the things that he always said was, and he continues to say, is that I think 10 of the 12 did not have an active father in their life. And I don't know if that's what you see as a consistency, in the work that you're doing now. Like, are there dads, are there men in these boys' lives, or are you that one guy, that is face to face with them weekly, bi-weekly, whatever it is that you go in there? Do you see that being a consistent theme throughout these kids in this,
I'd say
institution?
Maybe 85% of these kids, either their mom or their dad, is not in their life. But it's deeper than that, because if the question more so is, how did they get here? And it's because they don't have that mentorship in their life. They don't have someone to tell them to correct their mistakes, someone to guide them before they make the mistakes.
Right.
I can't get personal with these kids and their charges, but 90% of the time they don't have a father figure in their life, and they're yearning for it, so they do things
Right.
outside of that.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I think we had a little bit of a technology hiccup, but I think we're up and running again here. There we are. Steve's hopping over wires over here and everything else.
I would say the devil's working.
Seriously. Well, very cool. I mean, Sam, I think what you're doing now and how, I've often said this about folks that have a similar journey to yours, is it's like you should be a statistic. Like you should really be a statistic based on the things that you've encountered, the things that you've dealt with, the things that, my goodness, the decisions you have to make. And I just think it's amazing that God's favor and his wisdom and his grace just poured over you your entire life, and now you recognize that, right? You're saying, I recognize that, and so the only thing I can do now is to live for him, live by his principles, give back, mentor, and I just think it's amazing. So, it's just really good stuff.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, it's awesome. Sam, we appreciate you being on the show with us today, man, sharing your story. Thanks for driving out here from York, and I know we tried to connect for the past 3 weeks to get Sam on the podcast. We had snow and scheduling issues
problems.
And so
now the devil working again, man.
Exactly. We got it though, man.
So if you are watching and you are listening, we will have this information probably at the beginning and the end of this podcast. But make sure you check out YeshuaJewelry.com. I believe that's the the website.
YesHuas Jewelry.
Yep. Check that out. We'll have that on here, and we want to make sure we do that.
All those guys listening that need an engagement ring for the summer. Hit up Sam.
Hit up
me
Sam.
up, man.
Sam will do you right.
I have personal experience and a jeweler, so you don't have to worry about just a salesman.
There you go.
Exactly. Love it.
Love it.
So you had any final thoughts, G?
Yeah, man. I guess just we got a lot of things coming up and a lot of exciting things on the docket. We launched Lancaster a couple weeks ago, and now we've got heading to Medford, New Jersey this weekend for our mentor and protege training down there with about 150 men. We got our 5th annual dinner coming up in Lancaster at the Eden Resort.
Yeah, it's coming up fast, about a month away.
Yeah, so tickets are still available for that. I think there's still several sponsors available. So if you're listening and watching and want to help us out there, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, you can go to menofiron.org and click the dinner button and give you all the info you need.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can check us out on iTunes. Our podcast is up there. You can subscribe, listen, leave us a 5-star review.
Love it. Do it.
5-star.
And if you give us 5 stars, I don't think anyone's done it yet on iTunes, have they? I haven't checked.
I don't know. I haven't checked it the past week, but are you going to do another giveaway?
Yeah, if you do it, you get a free.
I'm giving you guys a 5-star view.
Sam's doing it.
This is from experience.
Sam's
too.
doing it. So you can also go to menofiron.org /MOI podcast. You can, and that'll take you right to the iTunes link as well. You can even watch the podcast on there. You can watch us on Facebook.
Love it.
And that's it. We'd love to hear your feedback, so let us know what you think. Again, we thank Sam for joining us today. That's it.
That's it, man.
Awesome. Appreciate you guys' time.
Blessings, honor, glory, and power forever.
See you guys.